Okay guys, today we're going to be talking about casting tips and tricks, primarily for fish sinkers. Okay, so today I want to talk about casting. Unfortunately, YouTube really ties my hands on this. I've gotten a lot of comments, people want me to do a whole thing about how I cast, powder coat, and everything on my projectiles on their own, like just from start to finish. However, YouTube gets super mad about it. They do not believe in the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. So unfortunately, I can't really show much about it. So but I do believe I can talk about general principles about casting lead. People use this for casting fish sinkers, they use it for casting little weights, they use it for casting ingots, whatever the heck you want, whatever the context it is. Just the general principles about casting metal into various shapes, particularly around lead. So the first thing I want to talk about is obviously safety. You should be wearing safety glasses. I use Harbor Freight welding gloves, which are, I got one right here. I use these because they're nice and long to cover my arms and keep my arms from getting burned, which is really nice. I also usually make sure whatever I'm using to melt my lead, whether this pot or whatever, is far enough away from plastics and stuff that it's not going to damage anything, any splatter there. Also, you never ever want to get any water into your lead because it goes boom and it's really exciting. One day when I have the guts and the time, I will do a video showing what happens. It makes a huge mess. So now that we're through general safety, now we'll talk about casting. So first off, you want your lead melted and running enough that it flows nice and quick out of here. You don't want it cranked up to 11 the whole time. It just causes your lead to oxidize and can have some issues on the top of your pot, and not super great. Also, your mold will get super hot, and if your mold is super hot, what'll happen is you'll get little crystal structures on your fish sinker or whatever you're casting, and then it's not as great. Another problem that I often see is if your mold is too cold, then you'll see little like worm-like things through your fish sinker or whatever you're casting. So what I do is when I'm warming up my lead pot, just stick my mold on top right there, and you're off to the races. And then I also like to water quench, because what that does is it hardens the outside of the lead just a little bit to make the projectile, to make the fish sinker a little bit harder, so when them fish bite it, it doesn't morph it a little bit. Okay, another thing is your mold will get too hot, and like I said, you'll see those little crystal structures. So I usually like to have a little like wet rag or something next to me when I'm casting, and I just run my mold over that. It keeps it a little bit cooler. It'll still be really hot because you want it hot, but you don't want it ridiculously hot. Okay, as far as using whatever mold or anything you want, if it has a sprue plate, something like this, you want to get plenty of sprue up on top there. You don't want to just fill it. You don't want to come into contact with whatever your thing is that's dropping your lead into the mold. You want to get plenty of sprue, and then when you break it off, it'll fall off really easy. If your mold is not hot enough, then it'll get too cold and it won't come off very easy, and it's kind of a pain. And I just dump it right back into the pot straight off of here. Makes it more efficient. The other thing is, if you do have hinges on your mold, you'll want to keep it lubricated. You can either use some sort of like brake lubricant, that's I got some there, or like a beeswax. You don't really want to use WD-40 because it'll burn and kind of make a mess on your mold. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. I really wish I could show you this from start to finish, but I just can't because YouTube does not allow that. So, general lead casting principles into fish sinkers or whatever. Okay guys, if you have any other questions, please put in the comments below. I do believe I can answer them there. Okay guys, thanks for watching.